when the market picks up, you go into a period of sleep deprivation. You spend many hours looking at screens, and sometimes when the market is that good, you think about the times that it wasn't good and you had time to just chill, right? Do other things like work out and pick up new hobbies, etc. So yeah, we're gonna discuss the market for the week. Plans with these weekly open streams from now on. I'm gonna try and keep them sort of under 30 minutes, so more of a like a market review. Just like I do them every Monday, but really there's not too much to talk about on a Monday. So what we'll do is from now on we'll do what we usually do and just do the market thoughts and discussions and planning the week ahead. But we'll try and keep it like sub 30 minutes. We'll talk about the market, basically, higher time frame outlook, and then sort of discuss the plan for the week, and then we can finish off with some chart requests for you guys. Potentially, maybe there's some altcoins that you guys are looking at, and then we can discuss them and maybe set out a plan for them this week. Although that's where I do want to start, is with altcoins. I do want to discuss alts, and we'll go on to like a sort of a clean chart to discuss this. But I briefly posted in my market thoughts about how I feel about altcoins right here. So, I mean, ENDS is also a pretty good example, but there are a few altcoins that have bounced very well, right, and maintained. AVE or Aave, as some people like to call it, has bounced considerably well off the August breakdown, and is an altcoin that maybe we can consider for the week. I done the AVE market report last week and discussed all my thoughts for that. The AVE market report was basically looking for a sweep into around the $100 region to look for some triggers for a long. But as a whole, it needs to break and hold above 108, and likely it can see a move towards like 130. Anyway, AVE is a good altcoin for the week, along with CRV. Both of these, even though CRV has been very weak for the year, after the sort of the August drop, it has seen a noticeably good chart and bounce, right? We can see a reclaim back above the point of breakdown initially, and just overall pretty nice structure into the low with this momentum divergence, and Rune as well. So Rune, another altcoin that really is not necessarily put in such a good bounce compared to a lot of other altcoins, but when we look at it on a scale like this, it's below a big resistance, right, still. And this is my point on a lot of altcoins, is that many of them have, maybe they've, so let's say this is the sort of like the structured low area, and maybe the breakdown point. Many of them have sort of bounced and created good structure, or even bounced back to, a level of interest that might have been like a prior support area, right? But this is as of right now is a lot of them are at key pivot points, like either like daily structured lows or back to the point of breakdown, but still tucked below. And for me, this is not a solid structure, and it really puts hesitation on whether it's worth leaving bids. For example, on Rune, I currently have bids set towards this region where you can see my alerts are at. It really makes me consider whether it's worth even having bids towards this region, or it's better waiting for a reclaim and a strong trend reversal before getting into it. You'd have much safer entry buying something like this, with your invalidation back below here, rather than trying to sort of catch a potential bounce to do something like that, right? Which is what I'm essentially looking for. And from here, you kind of have an awkward stop because it's like below this low. And realistically, if this low did not form a good enough move, and reject from here, there's a good chance that it's going to want to sweep again before maybe returning higher. So I discussed it on Inch and sort of what I'm looking at here, and I think with a lot of altcoins, your best bet is to completely stay clear of them. Not necessarily fully stay clear of touching altcoins for the next month or so. Just really pick which ones you're going to trade, really focus on the stronger ones, and just stay clear of the ones that have bounced like Inch, right? This is really not a strong bounce, and this is not a bounce for me to even consider an entry right now. Maybe if it got a strong break above 18, that could have been a good place to take a long and look for continuation. But as of right now, it's just sort of chopping and moving sideways at horizontal at this key level. And on something like Inch, given the weakness of the bounce, there's a good chance that if the market does roll over, that it's probably going to sweep under 14 again. And even so, would I consider 14? Maybe it could go even as low as 10. So the options I'm basically considering here on altcoins before getting exposure is option one would be reclaiming a lot higher, like for Inch, like another 40% higher. I think I would consider an entry. At that point, you've probably got majors also performing really well. And you can time it with majors in the back end of summer, or looking for like a freak nuke event. Not, under 14 wouldn't necessarily be a freak event, but if Inch went like a 45% from here down to $10, I think that's a fantastic buy opportunity. Any sort of freak sell off and flush from here I think is a really good opportunity. So that's basically option two, and both of these stand for majority of altcoins here. I think when you look at something like Popcat and the way it bounced, and the fact that it's just completely bled out, a lot of alts are bouncing for or if they are trending, they're trending for a week, less than a week, and then the momentum just dies on them, right? There's still no momentum in the market to even consider necessarily a lot of altcoins. It's a really difficult spot, and I think it's a big gamble trying to potentially knife catch a bottom still. Even on CRV here, yes, it does look like a fantastic entry around this 2.5 area, right? But you probably have much safer buys if you just waited for a flip back above 0.4. If CRV flips 0.4, you're probably much safer buying above here because you buy it on the flip and you have your stop below here, because there's a good chance that if this deviates and fails to hold above 0.4, it's probably going to continue to sell off, right? So, the same case would go for CRV. Maybe, I would probably stay clear of CRV on a freak nuke event because it's just void below. But, either wait for a big void, a big freak nuke, or a reclaim above this key level above, right? And I can go to loads of altcoins because they all look the same. Again, for ends, right? This is really not a structure to be bidding into right here. The bounce is so weak. Even for ends, I'm not even sure what level higher I would consider buying it. A freak nuke you could probably buy from here, if prices rolled over another 45 to 50%, I think that could be a good buy opportunity. But as a whole, this is not really an area you want to be buying into. Looking at the structure, it actually looks like this wants to roll over and probably continue to bleed into September, which I wouldn't be surprised. And basically the reason why I'm considering just holding back on all altcoins for now. And maybe if ends gave a flip above 20, that could be considered a good entry. But even then, the way that it sold off and just has not shown any momentum or strength back towards even the point of breakdown, is concerning, and it goes with a lot of these altcoins, right? With as well, like with actually put in like a fantastic reclaim. Yeah, and it's just continued to sell off. And something like Whiff again, you're probably better off waiting for a freak nuke below or like a reclaim above 2.4 before even considering an entry. You know, that doesn't mean you can't take longs, right? Don't get me wrong, like this doesn't mean you can't take longs and shorts, intraday longs, etc. if a setup provides itself. But I'm just more or less talking about the higher time frame and positioning into spot here. It's really going to depend on how majors how majors move, and you're better off just focusing on majors and trying to time altcoins with majors here rather than rather than trying to be a hero and completely time the bottom. You know, you've got your buy the dip heroes on CT telling you that, you know, upside is coming. They're buying the dip and stuff, but you know, a lot of like Whiff has since the bounce and the high, Whiff has now nukes another 30%, right? Like for me, that was the 1.6 area was a must hold for Whiff. Otherwise, you know, again, it's just like it's basically the same setup. Yeah, sort of got like structured low area, reclaim, failed to reclaim, deviated, sold off. Yeah, structured area, reclaim, failed to reclaim, deviated, probably going to sell off and run this low realistically, right? So again, I mean, Sol chart is different to a lot of these because it's still holding above this like 136 region. But again, the bounce, weak bounce, yeah. It's just like pretty weak bounce. It's holding above 136, but you know, as of right now, I'm not convinced with the bounce. I probably would want to see a better trigger around this 136 area before getting a long, or even drop down to 100 and then run it up again. Yeah. So that's sort of my outlook on altcoins here, and really considering pulling my spot bids today and just waiting for these two scenarios on across the board. Let's see what other altcoins have a similar. Like Floki again. Yeah, fine. If Floki puts in the deviation here, fantastic. Yeah, Floki puts in the deviation and reclaim here, fantastic. But like as of right now, like this looks pretty cooked, man. With this like really low volume node area below, the severe lack of the severe lack of momentum and the poor bounce into the underside of this range low area, you know, it makes sense that Floki could do something like this. You know, I'm not saying that it will, but looking at current price action until it does reclaim the 0.13 area, there's probably a good chance it can do something like that and retrace back to sort of this cluster area here, like 0.6, like really a liquid move down here. So, you know, it's better to wait for like, you know, option 2, which was like a freak nuke or like a reclaim much higher, and then, you know, whatever's happening in the middle is kind of just chop and is just going to throw you off. See you, Mosh. So let's talk about BTC, and then we can take some altcoin requests. But that's, you know, I feel comfortable and peace of mind in not really caring about altcoins right now until majors give me a clear risk on signal and a clear trigger that altcoins could actually get some momentum, right? We kind of need some like market catalyst right now, like some big buying to step in, ETH ETF bid to step in. We need some sort of catalyst right now for the markets to actually be fueled, because there's nothing, like no one is interested in buying altcoins, and if every dip they are buying, they continue to spend more time underwater, right? And, you know, equally a catalyst could be a big nuke to the downside. I think on a lot of altcoins, if they did sell off hard, then that would be appealing to a lot of people to get back into the market, right? So BTC. We are currently trading around two key monthly levels on the higher time frame. One being sort of the monthly resistance back from October, November in 2021. That also has acted as our sort of higher time frame range low area, our monthly range low area. The other area is the 58.8, which you can see also has acted as this place where prices continue to wick into and bounce from. And also that was our, monthly resistance from back in March and April. And, both these areas, when tested, forced price a lot lower, right? We can see that this area was initially a tough test for price, and we did, reject massively from that area multiple times. Again, here, once we deviated above this area, we lost it and we failed to move down it. So for me, holding above 58,800 is very important for that reason on the monthly. We can see what happened last time we failed to hold 58,800. We saw some pretty devastating sell-offs on the market. And as a whole, we have continued to hold above that area for the most part. We had 2 deviations under there already, and now we are getting the third. So that 58.8 is a key level for us to hold above on the monthly, and for us to pay attention to. Even more so 61.3. That is that monthly range low support that I spoke about, right? And as of right now, it is the level that has rejected us once again. Yeah, and we're sort of flagging below here, and I said this morning it's like the consolidation looks nice, but Aztec's corrected me in saying that this isn't consolidation, right? When we're sort of the structure is weak and we're selling and we're making lower lows, right? At least not strong consolidation, right? So these 2 levels are the most important levels for us to pay attention to right now, is 58.8 and 61. We also have 55k, but that's basically our level that we seriously do not want to lose from a bullish side of things. If 55k is lost, it would likely lead to a move much lower back down to like sub 50k again, right? So from a bullish scenario, 55k is like our absolute last level to lose. Otherwise, we're probably gonna, sell off and go a lot lower. But this does not look fantastic as of right now. Of course, we're sort of trading in a range right now between this 58.8 and 61.3, which brings me back to the lower time frame. Yeah, this is kind of how I'm looking at this area right now. We did see a reclaim above 58k over the weekend, but it was a weekend, so we sort of view that as an anomaly. We forget about it. For me, whatever movement happens over the weekend tends to be an anomaly anyway. So we're trading back down below that Friday close, so we fully retraced the weekend move. So for me right now, this remains our range low area, this 58.8, and this remains the range high. If we can reclaim 58.8 this week, we look at taking a potential long towards a 61.3. Until then, I think there's a good chance that we could drop back down to 55k, which, as I said, is that sort of must-hold area. If we start to lose 55k, then we're going to look at trading back lower. So this 55k is important because it's our 2021 value area high. This also has potential to form a new range low, right? That there's a good chance that we just chop until the end of summer into September, and then we can look to run higher. Yeah. So for now, these are the 3 key levels you're basically going to want to look at. I don't know if this has much confluence with any of it. Not really, but if this was our range low area, we're sort of holding around the 0.5 right now. So to go over that again, break above 61.3, which is at our very important multi-monthly level. There's a good chance that we can break out towards 70k and above. 58.8 is the current range low area. Would like to see a reclaim above here this week, and we can look at taking, along towards 61,300, which is around a 4% move. Fail to reclaim here this week, there's a good chance we're going to hold 50. We're going to move towards 55k, which is our all important level to hold. It's basically our I don't really know what to call it. It's our must-hold level for all bullish scenarios. If we start closing under there, I think it could get really ugly for bulls, and likely see that sort of nuke on altcoins that I was talking about, that option too, right? So it might seem like a lot of information to take in at first, but there's kind of the only two scenarios that I can think of right now on altcoins to position in, which was to reclaim higher or to see some sort of freak nuke lower. Until then, we just look at the Bitcoin range like this. These are the only levels you have to care about right now on BTC. Yeah, 58,800, 55k, and 61k. Yeah. Fail to reclaim here, we go to 55k. From 55k, we look for some reversal. From 61k, 61,300, that's gonna continue acting as resistance, or flip there, we break out, right? Look at the daily, we are flagging here. Yeah, there's like this nice sort of daily flag going on BTC, but again, it's below this 61,300 area, so there's a good chance that if this breaks out, Philip 61,300, we probably look to break up again. I'm starting to see a lot of similarities to our bottom back in January, right? And we have this sort of sweep, flag, break up, sweep, flag, break up, right? The only case is this time round we are sat below this 61,300 area, which is a key multi-monthly level, right? And this time round we were sort of above that key level, so that's the only difference. And I'm on the same train with Aztecs that this is pretty weak until we can get back above 61,300. All right, so that is the rough plan for the week / moving into the end of Q3. Must hold, flip for freedom. Basically how we're going to look at the market here, right? And forget sort of a lot of altcoins until they start showing positive signs, like they're really cooked for now. Until they start to show like positive signs of a reversal and majors give us that signal to get into them, I think they're pretty cooked. So if there's not any questions, we can look at some alts. You can request some alts, and then we can call that there. But yeah, 55k is that 2021 value or high, right? That all important level, which is, if we go back to what I said, discussing the 58.8 area, right? That 58.8 area, as soon as price deviated it and failed to hold there, we saw pretty harsh, gnarly rejections from that area, right? Equally again, failed to hold above there and got stuck below. We rejected and sold off hard, right? So that's that 58.8 area. Yeah. The 55k area is the 2021 value area high, which again, you can see that once the 2021 value area high was lost, we sold off pretty hard several times. Again, tested the 2021 value area high, sold off, failed to hold this 2021 value area high, sold off. Yeah. So there's a good chance if we can't hold this 2021 value area high, we get that sell off. Yeah, back down towards like 45k. So that's why it's a must hold area. This like 58.8 on the monthly we have to hold above, and 55k for like bullish continuation going into September, which is what most people are hoping for right now, right? Solana, do I see Sol going to double digits? If it loses 133, I think there's a good chance it can go under 100. And if it does go under 100, that would be, part of the option 2 where we buy a freak nuke event. Yeah. From here is like a 30 to 45% move on Sol to sub 100. Otherwise, we're just ranging on Sol. Yeah. The 3-day looks alright. Maybe if we get some triggers around here for a long, we can look at that. But yeah, I wouldn't completely write off single digit Sol, but it would likely rely on the market selling off a bit. Like Sol is one of the stronger coins, right? Picks for the week, as I discussed, there's not necessarily too many altcoins I'm looking at right now. Most of the alt trades I'm going to be taking is focusing on the stronger performance of the week. That's if there's a strong performer of the week, it's only a Monday, so it's hard to really comment on what's strong right now. But if there's a strong performer of the week that starts to pick up some momentum, I'll keep an eye on that for any anomalies and the standard sort of sweep, reclaim. And then we look for the impulse, sell the rip, and get out, right? Just like we done on FTM last week. Nice move on FTM last week, right? Was strong all week. Monday, Tuesday, going into Thursday, got that nice sweep, reclaim. We took the long and sold it for around about 6% move in the end. Yeah. These are the sort of setups I'm going to be looking at on altcoins for the intraday. Just focus on the stronger ones and see. Sue is not actually at a bad level here. It was one of the ones that bounced really well and is now holding above that point of breakdown. So definitely one for us to consider this week. And maybe a break back above 0.9 we can consider an entry. Just basically watch to see if it picks up some momentum this week, and there's a good chance that we can look for some triggers in price action, right? Say I had some alerts go off this morning, but again, I'm not too fussed about these sort of setups right now. Even though that does look like a nice setup, the bounce is weak. I'm unsure whether, if this did start to get momentum, then I would look to potentially trade it. But other than that, I'm not trying to catch a setup based on the daily right now, especially when the structure is weak like this. Yeah. BTC flow, there's not much to talk about in regards to that. We had some shorts built up this morning and some longs built up this morning, apologies, and then eventually got flushed out and carried out earlier. But yeah, so I think that is all, unless there's some charts you guys want me to look at. and it's 30 minutes on the dot, so that works out very nicely. TIA, I actually did look at TIA this morning. Again, structure-wise, is not the best looking altcoin right now. You know, it had somewhat a nice bounce, but rejected from 6, and basically the only time I would consider bidding TIA here would be a strong break back above 6, because that would give us the initial plan of option 1, which was buying a reclaim higher. Even though that is like 30% from here, you'd be much safer buying a reclaim above here with a stop below, and then rather trying to time the bottom. Yeah. Otherwise, again, we wait for option 2, which would be like a freak nuke lower, which at this point, if TIA starts to lose $4, you could probably see it dropping down to like sub 3, which is pretty crazy. But I mean, like, yeah, look at this price action right now. Yeah, it's on the daily. It's pretty rough. Like, it had an opportunity for a decent move up there with the reclaim, and again, just the next, you know, the next hurdle instantly rejected it. So yeah, it's just these are not the altcoins I want to be looking, like, trying to time right now. Took, you know, 9 days to bounce 50%, and it's just basically just elevated back down 25%. 5 days just took out like half the move. Not necessarily half the move, but can you do FTM? Yeah, we can. Might actually have done. Second. Let's see what levels we're looking at. I haven't got actually any for it down here. So FTM did put in a pretty decent reclaim here, back above 0.34. But still, the bounce has not been great, right? Realistically, you kind of want to see a break above 0.42 for FTM, and back above here. That'd be the reclaim to look for. Back above 0.42. Until then, pretty weak structure, yeah. Won't be surprised to see this drop lower at some point if it can't reclaim higher. A lot of these altcoins are in like no man's land, right? You know, as I say a lot, is you don't diddle in the middle. Yeah, you wanna look at trying to play around the key levels and not try to force when something is necessarily chopping in the middle, which is basically what BTC is doing right now. For me, it's kind of in the middle of this whole range. It's not appealing to me to try and gamble on a direction right here. But yeah, for FTM, if it reclaims 0.42, that looks positive for a move higher. Otherwise, maybe look at back towards 0.3. Pretty crazy chart, right? I do believe this is the sort of disbelief period on the Wall Street Journal chart. A lot of these altcoins just not as much of a time capitulation. I think we are like, I'm fairly confident, this was here, and this was the start of the sort of disbelief rally, and now we're going into this sell-off here, right? That comes in. Just more of a time capitulation with regards to this sell-off, rather than the fast sell-off we saw in like COVID, before the prior bull run back in 2020. I think this has just been a heavily timed capitulation sell-off, rather than the aggressive nuke retrace and then start the bull run, if that makes sense. And I think this is basically where we are with a lot of altcoins around here, to start running up into their next cycle, and the ones that will perform well. Right, happy to call it there. Keep it short and sweet, and people can go back and watch the outlook, around 40 minutes. So I'll keep it in this sort of form from now on. The weekly open stream can be more of a market discussion and a market wide plan slash for the week coming, rather than like a normal stream itself. All right, everyone. Have a good week. A couple more events planned for this week. You can see them in the events planner. Power Talk on Friday. Get the market report written up as well. Okay, bye everyone.